Okay, I have been getting requests for a bit of a build showcase, so I figured I'd actually go ahead and do one properly. So this is my Gemling Detonate Dead build. Now, the main thing that we're actually scaling is Archmage. We are, as you can see, all mana, no life. Archmage here with the 9% per 100 mana. I believe... Let's bust out the calculator real fast. 4,600 mana divided by 100. So that's 46 times the 9% at the moment. So 414% damage as extra lightning. So we've turned Detonate Dead into a lightning skill. This will only go up as we get tankier. But that's the gist. Number one downside to this build is that it's extremely spirit heavy. As you can imagine, having minions, energy blade, or not energy blade, minions, Archmage, and sacrifice. You have to have 160 spirit just for this before you have minions. So that's the downside. Once you can get past that, it's like really, really good. I myself do not have any crazy gear. We'll go over that after this, but so the tree is hilarious. It is all travel. We have like 9 jewel sockets. I don't even have jewels in every single one yet because I've been lazy. But obviously attributes really good. Our atlas, I guess we'll start here. Double bonus from intelligence. Obviously really good when having more mana gives you more damage. So we're getting, so from, at one point I was at 600 int, I've been changing some gear around, but we'll just use 600 for an easier number. 600 int is 2400 flat mana before anything else. So 2400 flat mana, then you've got your nodes on the tree way the hell over here. That's like 5%, another 12%, so like 17% more. But so this isn't a very important node. This is what makes Archmage like actually go crazy. This is just really nice. However, you're still gonna have to have enough attributes for gear. So I've come up with a solution to that. But just bear in mind, you might have to like. That's why I have these 3 strength points here. It's just so I can equip my gloves and my boots at the moment. It's very flexible in that way, because it's like, oh no, I found this really good piece of gear, but it's a dex item. Just change a couple of these travel nodes, it's okay. You're gonna live. But, at the moment, I only have 3 ascendancies. The quality is really, really good. Sacrifice loves quality. We're turning this 28% down to 20% slower. That's really good for like bossing and stuff like that. Archmage, on the other hand, is going from getting an additional 3% quality because this is a 32% gem, basically. That's also a lot. So I think with the one more level, obviously I could level this up to 20 and then also get the +1 level of all skills. There's not a lot of ways to level up your buff spells, so if I could get this to like 10%, now we're looking at like 460% extra damage as lightning. It's so good. The reason we are going Detonate Dead, to just kind of get that out of the way now, is Detonate Dead is just in general going to have a super high base damage for all of this multiplication that we're doing. If I was using any other skill, like Hex Blast, Lightning, or Spark, whatever, you still have the perfect shell for it. You have a bunch of mana, your Archmage is going to go crazy. It's just, I feel, just, one, I enjoyed Detonate Dead from POE 1. It's just, loved Volatile Dead, loved Detonate Dead. But Detonate Dead having that 20% corpse life as Fizz is, like, with almost no investment, you can just one-tap rares because you're blowing up its friend next to it and then multiplying that by 400%. It's very good. So, just to cover the important nodes, there's 10% attributes over here. That's a pretty good stat for us. Jewel socket, jewel socket, jewel socket, go crazy. Once you get over here, this is where all the important stuff is. Mind over matter is vital. The issue with mind over matter is that the 50% less mana recovery rate is going to require a lot of investment to get around. Detonate Dead is perfect for this build because it doesn't require a really high cast time. Like, Archmage chunks a lot of mana, obviously, so Detonate Dead really works well because it's like, one, boom, giant AoE, everything's dead. Boom, giant AoE, everything's dead. Like, you could cast faster if you wanted, but you don't need to, and that like, it helps aid your tankiness a little bit. But genuinely, the only important nodes, Mind over Matter, this is a good one, and then Eldritch Battery. When I get into the gear section, this is where this becomes relevant. Eldritch Battery allows you to use int-based equipment, so energy shield bases, so that you don't need to get other attributes. And then that energy shield gets added to your mana, giving you even more Archmage damage. And then, honestly, don't have to go CI, I just think it's so good. But Chaos Inoculation, allowing you to be on 1 life, oh no, you don't have any strength or need for life anyway, and then you're immune to Chaos damage. So with all of this combo, you are immune to poison, you are immune to bleed, you are immune to Chaos damage, you have, in my case, regen 500 mana a second after Mind over Matter. You have the only unique that I'm wearing gives me 50% damage taken recouped as mana. We have the other, there's 20% here, and then there's technically another 6% here, but I'm being lazy. So the key objective with this build is to get all the way around the tree, however you want to do it, to Eldritch Battery. Mind over Matter is the most important one, and Chaos Inoculation if you want it. The beauty of this build is that if you use any spell, you can do any build you want. I'm going Detonate Dead, so it's making me want minion life stuff. Most of my jewels give minion life with a bunch of completely irrelevant stats on them, which is great. But say you wanted to go Spark, well, just go for the lightning stuff. You don't have to get minion life. It's even more efficient. Because you're a Gemling or you're a mercenary, your next to lightning damage is lucky down here. Just throw Uncontrolled Destruction, never crit, everything's lucky, profit. So you basically, the shell is get to here. Do whatever you want, spell-wise. Because you're benefiting from all of this travel is giving you defense, damage, and I guess you could, if you want to consider mana its own category, defense, damage, and mana. We're taking other sources of int scaling, spell with damage per 100 mana. This isn't a crazy node, but it coincides with what we're trying to do here. 2% lightning damage per 10 intelligence, that's really good. It's not an absurd node, but it allows what we're already doing to be scaling more things, which I think is very efficient as far as like points on the tree go. So that's the gist of this. I'll kind of show off some of the actual gameplay here in a moment, but so in my case, like, dabbling for like generic LE damage is great. If I really wanted to go crazy on damage, like, I could probably find some fizz stuff in here to take, whatever. But I love how flexible this is. Once you get to here, you're good. You can go anywhere on the tree you want, and you're probably fine. What I thought I wanted was to go to Restless Dead and get this revive speed, but considering that my, like, sacrifice is down to 20%, reduced respawn time or whatever, I'm thinking I could probably just go for Lightning Pen is probably in my best interest here. And that's the thing, it's just flexible. If they ever nerf Detonate Dead, I'm not worried. I have like 10, 15 points to respec. If they ever nerf Archmage, probably still not worried, but yeah, I mean, Archmage has its downsides, right? Like that's the penalty. So that's enough for the tree. I think two camps of thought though before we move on. I can't. +1 to level of all skills is going to be really good. It's going to give our minions health. It's going to give our Detonate Dead technically more fire damage. It's going to give Archmage more damage. It's going to give Sacrifice a lower cooldown, or revive speed thing. The levels is great. It's really, really good. However, if you are playing a build that's like the lightning warp ball lightning combo or something else that just deletes your mana, there's two things that you might want to consider. One, keeping your energy shield as another defensive layer. I'm not doing that because I don't need to, but that's absolutely something you can consider if this stresses you out. But the 30% less cost of skills would be really, really nifty if you were playing any spell build that had a high cast speed. I've considered this. I genuinely don't think it's needed on Detonate Dead, but the beauty of being able to respec your ascendancies from your hideout is that you can experiment. So that's all I've been doing. Hell, I started this character as going for this with Raging Spirits and all sorts of other shenanigans, like Giant's Blood with that minions damage increases your damage hammer, just because I knew I was going to have a bunch of attributes. But this is after a bunch of testing and experimenting. This seems so darn good. Absolutely loving playing it. Party plays great. The beautiful thing about Detonate Dead is once you kill, a couple of white mobs, it doesn't matter what tier of map you are doing. The base hit of that 20% fizz based on the corpse life is going to scale up. If I blow up a white mob in a tier 1 map, sure, I'm going to do the same proportional damage to the same mobs in the tier 15 map. Outside of, rare mods and random stuff like that. Yeah. So one thing that I, just to kind of just share, because my gear right now is really lackluster. The number one thing, my rings are absolutely trash, but, like, I've got a life roll on my helmet and on my chest. Do I need it? Absolutely not. It's literally useless, but it's got int, it's got spirit, it's got reses. It's got some extra energy shield, which is all getting converted to mana. So there's definitely some upgrades here. Like, this is not a very good wand, but guess what? It's got 54% increased mana regeneration rate. This ring is bad, but it's got 49% mana regeneration rate. This scepter is like this is probably one of my better pieces of gear. It's fine, but it's not like cracked or anything. It's just got intelligence, minion level, mana regeneration rate. So you're just trying to get energy shield, which is mana. You're just trying to get mana, and ways to overcome the mind over matter shenanigans. This is the only unique I have on. Is there something better? Maybe a rare that's better? Probably. But I haven't had to consider my belt for the last week, so cool. But, yeah, just mana. I honestly really want to replace both of these because that strength requirement is annoying. I'd rather just have more int. So, but that's the gist for the function of the build. It works. It's great. We're running conductivity for a little bit of extra damage. We're running soul offering for a little bit of extra damage. You're honestly typically don't even bother to use these when I'm fighting stuff. It's just clunky and it doesn't matter. But they're there for bosses. 100%, these are only here when you're trying to fight a boss. The weird thing you might have noticed that I haven't addressed up until now is that I only have skeletal clerics. And as I mentioned, that this is a very spirit-heavy build. No. This is a very spirit-heavy build. So instead of running skeletal brutes, that which are going to be really good, especially when I quality this one up. The skeletal clerics themselves have a, by default, 0 to 30% more max life, which is good. You can see here with the stats, like 7,000 life on a minion, nothing crazy. It's enough to get that initial pop and start killing corpses. It's enough to kill most bosses. If I put the minion life over here into Skeletal Brute, we're looking at 14,000. I've literally doubled the life. But the issue is that this requires 46 spirit, whereas two clerics don't even meet that. They're like 20, if that. But if you get really good spirit gear, brutes are better. I have just found that having less than 6 clerics feels really bad. So I've just been like, for efficiency, quality of life, I've just only been going with the clerics. But assuming I find really good spirit gear, I'm probably gonna run at least 2 of these guys and then just absolutely dunk bosses. But this has felt good enough regardless, and that's happy. I'm happy with that. So as the supports don't really matter. There, you could go crit if you wanted. You could go controlled destruction like I'm doing. The one thing you want to make sure you have is Minion Pact. Minion Pact is broken, especially when you're CI. Oh no, I'm doing literally one damage to my minions anytime I cast a spell. That's kind of free. So, 40% more damage, one damage to my minions. Cool, easy. Oh no, I can't crit. Well, say if you were going a lightning spell and you wanted to benefit from lucky, that's really good. I don't have any investment anywhere in my tree on crit, so I figured this is good for me, but I could do anything else. Magnified effect just for quality of life and mapping, just bigger AoE. I mean, I don't even have a 6-link, like, and then LE focus. So there is a like kind of 2, or I guess 1 normal Detonate Dead build that's floating around right now, and it uses brutality because you're really trying to scale that fizz hit, and that's good. Don't get me wrong, that's a good way to approach this. But if you're using Archmage, obviously you cannot use brutality. Like you have to do LE damage. So we don't really care about that fire part of the Detonate Dead. Like that doesn't really do anything for us. But it's technically a little bit more damage. So we're scaling levels on everything else, so it doesn't really hurt us to scale even more levels on this. Like, oh, 200 fire damage compared to 20% corpse life. Like, the math does... But the fizz is a vessel for Archmage. That is this build. We are taking advantage of this amazing tag on Detonate Dead and just literally 4 timesing it with Archmage. It's so fun. Yeah, it's a bummer that we can't benefit from our own discipline. Genuinely, I don't care what scepter you use to get into the nitty-gritty. Scepters don't matter. The only one that seems good is the Malice one, if you're going a crit build. Do you... Like, I'm not doing crit, so Malice seems eh. I'd rather, like, just find the actual stats I want on whatever scepter and just be happy with that. I found, like, the skeletal warriors would be cool. Technically, it's a little bit of extra, like, minions to protect you or whatever. The issue is, like, when you're doing party play, a lot of people don't love minions because of, like, the collision and their visual clutter and stuff. I kind of agree with them. So I like having my small, dense, like, these minions are exactly what I need, and they're exactly there to do the right, like, do my damage. It is funny, so the one thing that you will have to do, if you do this approach where you have no skeletal brutes or, like, any other minions besides the clerics, you do have to click to get them to go into mobs. It's fairly fine because you literally only have to blow up like one mob and then you can just start chain reactioning everything else. But I don't mind it. It's just like occasional click. I have noticed a couple of bugs with this. If you are in the middle of commanding them, they will not res each other. You will have to wait the timer to res. But once this goes away and they come back, if I blow one up, oh look, I have 7 again. I blow one up, oh look, I have 7 again. As soon as you command them while you're blowing stuff up, that's when they're not gonna properly do what they're supposed to do. It's annoying, don't get me wrong. That's one of the reasons why lowering sacrifices, the slower revive speed is really important for this version of the build. But that's just something that I've figured out, and now that I know it, it's just really, like, it's easier to navigate around. I don't know if it's a bug, it's like you're literally telling them what to do, and so they're not gonna revive their friend, but even, like, after they're done moving, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, it's weird. But yeah, if you give them too many commands, they'll break, but it's fine. They're still doing their job of blowing up and then reviving each other most of the time. So, with all that out of the way, I don't think I have any crazy high-level maps, but let's just... Sure. Just, do I have a boss that I can fight? Yeah, I do. Boss? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. I've been doing a lot of party play, so my maps are pretty lackluster. Up, 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 up. It's quite satisfying. One thing that I've been considering is grabbing the minion speed on the tree. I'm like 2 points away from it, or 3 points away from it. I didn't think I was gonna need it, but as I'm getting into maps and wanting to like actually go faster, it'd be kind of nice. But let's run around till we find a rare, and then fight this boss, and just enjoy life. When I did Sanctum at like level 75 for the 3rd lab, I seriously was able to like kill the first boss in like 10 seconds, second boss in like 15 seconds, the pair, and then the 3rd boss took me about 30, but it was just like first try, just zoom, murder everything. It's very quite satisfying. But yeah, nothing stands a chance. Of course, this is only a tier 8, and I'm level 85, but still. Before I'll try and showcase this on a higher tier map, or in like a high. I'll try and do a map with people in like a tier 14, 15, and get a recording of that after this too. But do. Everything kind of dies. So of course defenses, as you can see, I have none. It's just like if you have enough mana and you have enough mana regen, like unless something literally one-shots you, which in a good number of cases is gonna happen whether you have good defenses or not, like it's fine. Like your mana flask, or your life flask is quite literally useless. Your mana flask is half as useful because of Mind Over Matter. So it's like, don't get me wrong, the build has its downsides. I don't want to say glass cannon, because you've got more bulk than that. Like, I've been tankier than some of my friends when we've been mapping together and stuff. It's just, you're not a tank. You don't want to give that impression that you are tanky. You're just not the squishiest guy on the planet. Man, this map is unfortunately quite spread out. Where is a rare? Or the boss, for that matter. No, yeah, that was my double rare pack. Oh, that was a rare too. It's just really good. It's just really good. I wish I personally just had more high tier maps on me for this, but I'll do like if this is well received, I'll do another video and like actually like get some high tier maps and hopefully have a little bit better gear to showcase this at a high level. But more than anything, I've been kind of commenting and stuff on Reddit, and there's been a lot of interest in how this functions, what the skill tree looks like and stuff, so main reason why I'm getting it out. So, just real fast, double check that we didn't miss a rare right here. Nope. Okay. Whew. Ooh, wait, is that double boss? Let's go. Okay. So, again, 2 trains of thought. I'm gonna just do this boss fight with only my clerics, because this is what I've personally been running. Just as a reminder, you could move minion meat shield over to these guys and have one of them. It's just that spirit costs just too much for me, to be honest. Pop, pop, pop. And they're dead. Boss dead. I know this is like a tier 8 map, but dear God, is that satisfying. Yeah, so that's the gist. You get your buffs up. It's not like they're not really that important, like, but whoo, that's a satisfying time. Let's do this tier 9. But yeah, major upgrades for me would be to like replace my chest and helmet, replace this life roll with a really good energy shield roll, allowing me to get even more mana. You're trying to get to each 100 mana breakpoint for a few different things, so if you can manage to... So good, man. I will say, I do want to just, like, put it out there into the universe. I believe that there is a bug with these different mobs that do poison damage, typically. For whatever reason, they seem to do way more damage than any other enemies that hit you. I'm wondering if it's a weird Eldritch Battery, CI, no actual energy shield thing. It's like maybe doubling the damage from those fizz hits, or it's not like I would die if I wasn't Chaos Immune right now. Even with 1 life, they would still hit my mana. So it's making me wonder that if there's a bug, because like they do so much more damage than any other enemies. But that's besides the point. It's not really an issue, it's just more of an observation I've noticed. I've made a forum post about it. It seems off. Also, the fact that I'm getting the poison thing, I know CI doesn't say you can't be poisoned, you just are immune to chaos damage. So it's probably working as intended, but I'm just not sure. It's just weird. So obviously, you know, having some more cast speed would be cool too. I just found, like, for bossing, you have a limited number of, like, minions. If you cast too fast, they don't have a chance to revive themselves before like, you blow them all up. And you just don't want to be stuck sitting there waiting for a... You don't want to be stuck sitting waiting for your minions to come back in a boss fight. It's the number one thing that you're trying to mitigate and avoid. Quality on sacrifice is a huge start. Minion revive speed on the tree is a huge start. Having even more clerics. It's just, what I've found has been the trickiest part as I've started to fight, like, trying to beat the 4th lab, trying to get the Trial Master killed. A lot of bosses have big AoE, high damage attacks that are fine for you, but they will cleave through your minions. And obviously you need them to do damage. So it's a give and take. See, that just was a suspicious amount of damage that I was just taking there, but to each their own. Ooh. Just heal. I know Shocking Ground is probably not helping. But I'm curious, though, what y'all think. I don't know, leave a comment or let me know what your thoughts are on what other skills would be, combination of spells and stuff would be really good with this Archmage setup. 414% damage as extra lightning damage is without used to be a rare. Obviously is a lot of damage. So if you can find a way to get a good base hit on any spell, you're cooking. So, I'm curious what other people are gonna do when they see this Archmage combo, and like what spells they might use with it. I am just going to use Detonate Dead until they nerf it, inevitably. Loved it in POE 1, loved Volatile Dead in POE 1. Oh, there goes the rare. But as you can see, I'm not invincible. Like, I'm taking pretty hefty chunks to my mana sometimes. Certain mobs seem to do a lot more than others, which may or may not be a bug, but that's besides the point. You're not invincible. You do need to be careful. Please don't trap me in the boss room like you did before. Let's do it. Let's get it. Oh, it's this guy again. Goodbye! Obviously not like a very difficult boss, but still. You should get the idea across that it's a lot of damage. Specifically, I mean, it should go without saying for Detonate Dead, if you're fighting a boss that has their own corpses, you're going to do that much more damage. Because pretty much, I'd like to imagine almost entirely the mobs in your high-tier maps are going to have more health than your minions. Just period, end of story. Like, I cannot imagine your minions outclassing a mob in a tier 15 map. So if you manage to have a corpse on that boss, or he summons them, or whatever, big damage. Like, that was a rare. That was a rare. It's a good time, as you can see. It's not perfect, though. I genuinely think that, like, with a little bit of gear, though, like a little bit of upgrades in gear and stuff, like, I don't have any piece of gear that's worth more than 12 exalts on right now, to be honest. Except for, I think this belt went up in price, but I haven't checked recently. Like, it's just good. It's just so good. Like, I don't have a lot of money. I'm not playing some, like, super expensive, turbo expensive, like, build or anything. You just need mana. Just have a bunch of mana and go profit and enjoy life. and see the sights and enjoy POE 2. I am sad that this is probably going to make mana gear even more expensive. That's part of the problem with this build, is maximum mana builds are pricey. They're real pricey. So, that's it for me. If y'all have questions, leave them in the comments. I can make another video and address whatever is left. Curious what y'all do with this information. If you make Detonate Dead builds, that's awesome. If you don't, that's awesome. If you do some wacky stuff that I didn't think of, that's even awesomer. Go crazy. Have fun. That's it for me. And thank you for watching.